Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Before start the video, please like, share and subscribe.
A kind dragon. Would you like to meet a dragon? Do you think dragon children have problems? Meet Ah Ming, the little dragon, and listen to his problems in this story. Ah Ming was a dragon, a very large, green and black dragon. When he breathed, he puffed out a lot of smoke as if he had a great fire inside him. His eyes shone like rubies and his tail seemed to stretch for miles and miles. However, he had not always been so large and imposing. When he was only a few years old, he was very small and thin with no tail at all. In fact, his mother was quite ashamed of him. "I do wish Ah Ming would grow a little," she said to the other dragons. "No one will ever be frightened of him. He will never be able to fight battles or look impressive in a procession." This made Ah Ming very unhappy. He started to hide himself among the rocks and trees where no one could see him. And one day, he decided to run away. "No one is really kind to me," he said to himself. "I will find a new home where I can live happily all by myself, and I will be a kind, gentle dragon, even if I can't be a large, beautiful, and fierce one." So one night, with just the half moon shining, Ah Ming left home. He took the road which led over the bills far away. He felt a little sad and lonely leaving all the other dragons he knew so well. But he was quite determined to make his own way out in the world. He was so small that he was able to take the little paths and tracks between the hills and across the rich fields, which would have been much too narrow for most dragons. By morning he had gone a long way. He slept under a banyan tree and waited until it was dark before moving on again. He traveled like this for several days, and soon he was a long, long way from his old home. One morning, he came to a place where tall trees grew on the top of a little hill. There was a huge, rocky cave out of which a stream bubbled. Down below in the valley he could see a village with lots of houses. It was a lovely, quiet place. "I shall stay here forever and ever," said Ah Ming happily. So he settled down in the cave and made up his mind to be kind and good. He ate green grass, wild fruits, the blossoms that fell from the trees, and the little mushrooms that sprang up on the hillside. Sometimes, he found honey that the bees had left in the hollow trees, and he drank the cool bubbling water from the little stream. Weeks went by and Ah Ming felt very peaceful. No one came to disturb him. From the grassy mound outside his cave he had a wonderful view of the village below him in the valley. He watched the children play, he heard the sound of music and bells. He saw the street stalls and everyone going shopping. He watched the carts, wagons and rickshaws moving along the road. During festival and holiday, banners, paper lanterns and flags filled the narrow streets with color. One bright, sunny morning, Ah Ming decided he would go down to the village and make friends with everyone. He felt sure they would like him. "I am such a tiny dragon," he said to himself, "that even the children will want to play with me." So, when the sun was high in the sky and the street was full of noisy activities, Ah Ming suddenly appeared. He expected everyone to come running to meet him, to stroke his head, to admire his colors and to ask his name. Instead, there was the most terrible confusion. People dropped everything and ran. The doors were slammed and bolted, windows closed and mothers hid their children. In a moment the street was empty. Oh dear, whatever is the matter?" said Ah Ming. "Surely they can't be frightened of me?" He walked very slowly and carefully down the village street until he came to the village fountain with its lovely, clear pool of water. Sitting on the low wall around the pool was a small boy. Ah Ming stopped at once, and he and the boy looked at each other. "Why has everybody run away?" asked Ah Ming. "I'm not going to hurt anyone after all. I'm just a very tiny dragon." "Really?" said the little boy in surprise. "I'm afraid everyone was very, very frightened of you." They thought you were going to eat them up. I nearly ran away myself, but my grandfather had been telling me such wonderful old stories about dragons. I thought I would stay and see what you really look like. How very, very large you are. Large, said Ah Ming in astonishment. Me? He shook his head. Why, I'm perhaps the smallest dragon in the world. That's why I had to leave home. You have made a big mistake, said the small boy. Just take a look at yourself. Ah Ming turned and looked down into the bright, clear water of the pool and suddenly saw that he was simply enormous. He was puffing out clouds of smoke into the still air, his tail stretched out behind him, his neck curved high, his eyes glittered like jewels. Oh dear, said Ah Ming. What has happened to me? You look simply beautiful, a real dragon, said the small boy. If you honestly don't eat up people, I'll hurry off and tell them all that you are quite harmless. They will come out of their houses and look at you, he added. In a short time, Ah Ming was surrounded by an admiring crowd. The children climbed on his back, little boys sat on his tail, babies were held up to stroke his cheeks. He felt very happy. Everybody really liked him. After a lot of talk and discussion, the village council decided to adopt Ah Ming as their special dragon. So nearly every day he came down from his cave and stretched out on the village street. He took up a great deal of room, but he was very careful not to knock down any of the stalls. And the children were able to play the most exciting games, jumping over his back and sliding down his tail. His fame soon spread abroad and people came from far and wide to see him. Ah Ming was very happy. At festival and holidays he always led the processions. He was gentle and good-tempered with the children and polite to everyone. Luckily, he stopped growing, thought he got rather fat. He is living there to this day, a contented and satisfied dragon.
Like, share, subscribe. See you again. Bye bye.